Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hello and welcome to this episode of our show. This is your host, Keith Doherty. Today our special guest is top real estate agent Megan Aitken of Megan Aitken Realty Group at Keller Williams Realty, based out of Middletown, Delaware. In 2003, Megan got her start in new home sales with a Fortune 500 home builder selling new construction in the Baltimore market. After achieving Rookie of the Year and setting regional sales records, Megan was quickly offered a transfer opportunity in Middletown, Delaware, to sell in a growing market. When Megan determined she would be happier representing the client rather than the builder, she obtained her real estate license and went out on her own. Since 2012, she has been awarded by Five-Star Professional 3 years in a row as a 5-star real estate agent for client satisfaction, and she's been featured in Delaware Today magazine as a top agent in Delaware. From closing one home in 2012 this year, Megan has closed 68 homes totaling $17 million in sales, 90% of which were within the Middletown area. While accomplishing these achievements, Megan is a busy mom to 3 young children, 8, 6, and 6, one diagnosed with autism. Megan also stays active in her son's school and activities within the community and supports local charities that benefit autism and special needs. Megan gives back to the local community through Relay for Life, school, PTA, Boy Scouts, Chamber of Commerce, and many other organizations that hold events throughout the year within the Middletown area. All right, with all that said, Megan, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm excited to be on your show. Thanks for having me.
And Megan, if we could start for our listeners, what led you into real estate? Was it something that you always knew you wanted to do, or did you maybe stumble into it?
Actually, I did kind of stumble into it. I was pretty young. I got out of college looking for a job in sales, and I happened to go to a job fair where there was a couple of national home builders that were seeking college grads to sell some new construction homes, and I interviewed for 2 and ended up landing a position with a Fortune 500 home builder, and the love was instant with them, and the connection I had with my clients just made me fall in love with the business in general, and that's where I got my start in selling, was with new homes.
Excellent. And can you talk a little bit about what personal attributes, traits, or qualities you think have most contributed to the success that you've had in real estate?
Yes. So my parents will tell you I was born with a bit of a headstrong personality, and, you know, I've been determined throughout most of my life to basically motivate myself to get things accomplished. And that has driven me in all of my aspects of my life to get things accomplished, whether it was in school or in my career or in my job. And I definitely feel as though that has been a huge asset in my contributions towards my success.
And do you think you could give our listeners an example of when these traits have played a role in your path towards success?
So a great example would be after about 6 years in the new construction business, and after I was pregnant with our twins, I took a quick time out to stay home and raise the twins, and decided to go back into real estate with my real estate license and get out of new construction and start my business out in the field on my own, and really had to start my business from zero, switching from new construction over to being out in the field as a real estate agent. And that, in fact, required me to completely self-motivate myself to build my brand, build my business, use some of that headstrong capabilities that I had, you know, from growing up, and really motivate myself to get up, get out there, and just build relationships with people and get the word out there that I was on my own and that I really wanted to have this business on my own. And that was what propelled me into being able to retain clients and get referrals and get the word of mouth out there.
And I think whenever somebody builds a successful business or a career, that sometimes the path to get there is filled with bumps in the road along the way. Can you talk a little bit about some of the adversities and trials that you've had to overcome in order to achieve your goals?
Well, yeah, definitely. One of the biggest trials, I would say, was trying to be a mom and a working mom at that, with having 3 young kids and trying to get back out in the business. My husband worked full time, and I was super determined to have my business up and running. I would say time management was probably one of my biggest hardships at the time, I think, was just trying to juggle everything. My son, one of the twins, was diagnosed with autism at the young age of 2. So I was actually trying to get him also to his therapies while also trying to manage my schedule while showing homes. I would take my kids with me on my showings, actually take them into the properties or, wherever I needed to be. I would have them with me just to accomplish what I needed to accomplish that day. Time management sure was the biggest challenge at the time, but I did what I needed to do. I had the support that I needed from my family to get it done. But, it's just that self-determination and trying to, accomplish that goal, the end goal in sight that just drives you to get through it. Sometimes I look back, I don't know how I did that, but, you kind of do what you need to do to survive at the time. And it was certainly quite a time for me, but it was an enjoyable time at that as well.
And, as these obstacles come up for you, what kept you going? Why didn't you give up? What was your driving force?
It's a really good question, especially considering when I just told you how chaotic it was, which, it was very chaotic. A lot of the times people would tell me, like, are you crazy? What are you doing? You're so busy and you have so much going on. But the truth is, I was so honored and motivated by the clients and their responses to me and their thankfulness and just the compliments they would give me and the things they would say to enrich my life in return was rewarding. And they motivated me to be a better realtor and to become better at what I did. And they sent me their families. They sent me their friends. They sent me their cousins, uncles, neighbors, and they kept me so busy and their experiences were so good with me and it was almost as if they just weren't getting that kind of experience from anyone else. And, it just blew my mind that there just wasn't another agent that was able to offer them that experience. And that just made me want to give more people that kind of client experience, with the knowledge and client care that I was able to give. So I was very motivated by their responses. But I also can't get off of that question without giving the credit also to the support and encouragement I got from my husband, who, if he hadn't have dove in and obviously just encouraged me to get up when I was down or, told me to get out the door on a weekend, he would take care of the kids and I could go out and show houses all weekend when, obviously he's juggling his work as well. And he was very encouraging and very supportive when we were very busy. And, I think at the same time, it takes, a whole team to be able to support a lifestyle like this when you have a very chaotic schedule. But that's, I think, what encouraged me not to give up was just seeing the smiling faces on the clients, at the end of the closings, and the fact that they would send me and trust me with their families and friends. There was no way there wasn't even an option to give up. That giving up was never an option for me.
And looking forward, what's your vision for your business and your career over the next 5 years?
I've been very fortunate to have had the opportunity to bring on a full-time licensed assistant the past year, which has allowed me to grow in my business the past year. We've more than doubled our clientele in just 12 months, and we're looking to continue this growth within the area. The area in our town is growing. We have one of the fastest growing areas in the county, and lot is happening around here. I plan to continue to grow and invest in the community, and as a business, I want to better serve them. I want to continue to see my team give back to the community and potentially even see if I can even expand with some more agents that, I get very particular, obviously, because I give very good client care, but my clients know that I am like that. So therefore, I would make sure I have agents that can give that client care. But, grow my team and make sure that I can give enough of me back out to the clients that are looking for service, and help within the community. The community is looking to expand within the school district system. So I'm looking to try to help within that expansion, try to push the referendum that is going out there, help within the local fundraisers that go out. And I'm just excited for what's happening here in this town in the next 5 years.
And I guess kind of on top of that, what do you feel is the best way you market yourself as a real estate professional so you can have continual growth?
I have really saturated myself in this town as I've moved here 11 years ago. Now I've lived here and my family's been raised here, and I have really saturated myself in the town knowledge and the schools and the area, and just in general want to become the local expert. So I really marketed myself as the local expert, not just in residential real estate, but in the town, in the history, in the where do you go to get a good pizza, or where do you go to eat at a good restaurant on date night? Where can you find, a good place to go for a hike around here? The idea is that I can provide my clients with the most resourceful amount of information for this area. And by being the expert in one particular market, I can do that. And that allows me to be more useful to them rather than expanding myself beyond my reach. So I do market myself as more of the local expert here in the Middletown area.
And I think whenever the general public looks at real estate agents, they don't fully understand the value they provide from both a buyer and a seller standpoint. What do you think the biggest misconception or myth people have about working with a real estate agent?
Well, I think for starters, one of the biggest myths that is out there is that as a buyer, when you go out there, you basically don't have to pay for a real estate agent. In Delaware, we are a free state with real estate agents on the buyer side. So when you call me to represent you as a buyer's agent, it's a free service to you. So I think a big misconception for buyers is they're scared they might end up with added costs for them when they go to shop for a home. And, Keith, one of my biggest specialties, and having said that my background is in new home construction, I had spent 6 years, with extensive training in new home construction and selling for them. And, I bring to the table a very big part of my expertise is what I know about new homes. And so for a buyer to go out, even in my area or any area for that, and to go purchase a new home, you could go into a builder's office and essentially the builder's rep is represented by the builder's rep, and the builder's rep represents the builder. So essentially they aren't representing you. So you walk in there unrepresented, and you could have a realtor, specifically one who knows about new construction, such as myself, go with you and assist you in the process at no cost to you. And those who have that conception that they're going to walk in without a realtor and save money, that is a huge myth as well, because the builders build in to the overall financials. They already assume that there is a realtor in the transaction, and therefore there is that built into their bottom line. So if you don't have a realtor, they're just going to get that extra profit, and they leverage that over the total of their sales anyway, as an average. So it's all more beneficial to you as a buyer to go in with a realtor. So you have that benefit of having a representative in there on your team representing you so that throughout the process, you know that somebody is going to be looking out for your best interest. Because as much as you may like Jenny or Katie or whoever's in the sales office, that person is always going to default to whatever the new home builder tells them is the correct answer. So if I can tell anybody in this conversation to retain anything that I'm saying about a misconception of realtors, it would be that you should always be represented when buying a new home, because it doesn't cost you anything. It can only benefit you, and you're not going to save any of your incentive money by not having one.
And let's say you get a call from a family member or a friend, and they're in another state and they want to sell their home. Now, obviously, with your experience and being part of Keller Williams, you could easily look up an agent and do a referral. But from a general advice standpoint, what advice would you give them about selecting an agent that could best serve their needs?
Well, obviously, we do have that amazing referral network. So, yes, that would obviously be my first request, is that they reach out to me so that I can connect them with a pre-screened Keller Williams referral agent that I have talked to and tried to match based on their needs. But most importantly, when you're looking for an agent in your market, and it's not in my market, I usually tell my family members or my friends, you have to look for somebody that is specifically in your zip code, somebody who knows your stats, somebody who has sold homes recently in your community or in your neighborhood or your school district or somewhere within a mile or two of your house with experience that has done it. Somebody who has, I would say, like I said, statistics of how many days they've had on the market, percentage of list price to sales price, some clear statistics on their data so that you can look at that and really see that on paper. Also, you're going to want to know what they're including with their listing service. What exactly is covered in their listing fees? Does it include professional photography? Does it include staging? Staging, to me, is a huge part of selling your homes today. Every home should be staged professionally, and it should be included in your listing service. I look for that in all of my friends and family's listing services. I think that's a huge deal. How do they market their homes on social media? Social media is a big part of selling your home. Do they have a social media presence? If they're not on social media or they don't believe in social media, that's probably a red flag. How are they connected within your community? Do they have a big agent connection? Do they work with buyers? Do they only work with sellers? There's a lot of these things are going to have to weigh in before you make an agent decision. I definitely tell them, do not make a decision based on it being a friend or somebody that, is saying, hey, I'm a realtor, just give me a shot. I just signed up for school. As this is a big financial decision. It's like playing with, $250,000 or $500,000 out of your financial portfolio. Are you going to trust Aunt Susie with that kind of money just because she's your aunt? I think really what you have to think about is, this is a big financial investment in your life. You have to be making this decision from strength and from intelligence and from data. So I would just really advise them to look carefully at the statistics.
And obviously you're based out of the Middletown, Delaware area. And if somebody's looking for real estate services or an agent in that general area, what's the best way they can find out more information about you and how you can help them?
You can find me on my website at www.delawarelistings.com. And on the website, you can click on the email me link, or you can just call me. My phone number is right on there. There's also a link at the top of the website where there's a Facebook link, which will link you directly to my Facebook page. And my Facebook page is always full of staging tips, selling tips, buying tips, and just general Middletown, Delaware information. You can always follow me on Facebook and private message me for anything that you might need, and I respond quickly. I look forward to anybody looking for any real estate information to reach out to me anytime.
Excellent. Well, Megan, obviously we want to thank you for taking time out of your schedule to come here today and share all your professional real estate experience with our listeners. And if you're listening and you want to learn more about Megan, obviously you can go to her site, or actually below this interview, we'll have a link to her site and any other contact information we have so you can see how she can help you with your real estate needs. So with that said, everybody, until our next show, have a great day and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.